All right, for the first time in playoff history, we have seen two non-playoff drivers take the checkered flag in the first two playoff races, sending a little shakeup through the field. And now, Steve, we are at 18 different winners in 2022. I just got to rub that in a little bit.
No, that's fine. It didn't happen in the first 26, so I feel like I still won this disagreement. But it has been crazy, for sure. 18 different winners, it's shocking, to be quite honest.
Well, here's what Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin had to say following Sunday's race.
I knew Denny was going to be strong, and you know that's the things I look at is he wasn't that good at the beginning of the day, and he comes up and finishes P2, and that's what I want to start doing when we don't have the best days, is capitalize on moments like that. So it's cool to beat the boss, but man, we were just lights out today once we got to the lead, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm really happy for that 45 team and Bubba Wallace and Booty. You know, Bubba's just really worked hard on his craft, and you know we've just giving him fast race cars, and now he's showing him what he's got.
All right, fellas, explain why non-playoff drivers are able to go out and steal wins from under the playoff drivers, because really it's not something we regularly see during the championship run.
Well, listen, it's inexplainable. There's no explanation for it. It shouldn't be happening. Really, these playoff drivers should hang their heads that it is happening, because I believe the 16 best teams made the playoffs. You could argue that Truex should have been in there, but he's not the one winning races. It was Erik Jones and Bubba Wallace. Bubba's been close. Erik Jones has been okay this year, but you're supposed to elevate your game in the playoffs. So I can't explain how these other 16 drivers can't find their way to victory lane.
And that's what we've seen every year. Teams don't want to admit it, drivers don't want to admit it, but when we get to the playoffs, it does seem to be some other level of performance. We've seen it every year in this playoff format. Not seeing it this year. I don't understand where the strength and the other level is for these competitors, for an Erik Jones to get a win. Erik Jones has been fast. We knew he was a contender at Darlington, but for him to get a win during the most pressure-filled time of the season, when these drivers, the 16, need that win to get into the next round, to not have it from these drivers after the first two races is crazy. It's the first time we've seen it.
Well, we saw the parity, though, in the regular season. Is it not fair to say that will continue through the playoffs?
I believe it will. I think it's two things. I think that no one had a big playoff point lead, so everyone in the playoffs is racing a little tense. They're really concerned about points more than the wins, because that's really the pathway out of the round of 16. And the second big point, you mentioned parity. In years past, once you made the playoffs, you started building cars for the playoffs. You started building these specialized one-off cars for Kansas, for Bristol. With this next-gen car, those don't exist anymore. So I think some of that technology advantage has gone away from those teams that find out they're playoff eligible very early in the season.
Yeah, and we heard Denny say yesterday in his post-race press conference that, yes, they used to build and save their equipment. You can't do that anymore with the next-gen car. Maybe we're seeing the product of that, where an Erik Jones, where a Bubba Wallace can get that. And I think you were saying, Steve, that 45 car, same car that won in Kansas. So you can just bring back the same car, bring back a driver that has the skill to do it, have the same speed, go out there, win the race, sweep Kansas for 23-11.